You guys know that part where Bilbo tells Gandalf, I feel like butter scraped over too much bread? That perfectly sums up this week. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, bookworms, and a happy Halloween to you. Mike back for another weekly update as we're kind of wrapping up October here. All kinds of things going on, even though I do kind of think that there's a little bit of a funkiness going on in life, but we'll talk about that here minimally in a second. But let's do what we always do. Let's kick it off by talking about what am I reading. I'm going to be honest with you guys, where I talk about funkiness, I am kind of in a reading funk right now, and I don't know what's going on. I think I might be wearing myself out a little bit. If you haven't noticed, the workload for October has been kind of high on the channel, but that usually never affects really what I'm reading or whatever. I think this mad rush I've been doing to try to get everything cleared off before Rhythm of War and then before Malazan starts in January is starting to get to me, because you guys know it's never a problem when you're reading a John Gwynne book to stay motivated and keep reading, but I find myself every day finding something to do instead of read. And I don't know what is causing that. About halfway done with this. It's just as good as all John Gwynne books have been. It's not really anything against that. I'm almost done with Fires of Vengeance. That's the Rage of Dragon sequel by Evan Winter. And I don't know what's going on. It's just hard for me to get motivated to read. And this is like the first time in a while. So I don't know if it's just that there is some personal things going on in life right now. Kid stuff. No one wants to really hear very much about that. But it's kind of hard to focus, I think, on reading right now. I don't know what the problem is, but I'm hoping that I can get over it. I'm actually considering changing a couple things on what am I going to read. Let's go ahead and move over to that. Let's talk about what am I going to read. Here's the thing. I want to finish A Time of Courage and want to finish Fires of Vengeance before I start reading the last Greatcoats book, which is Tyrant's Throne. That'll wrap up our channel read-along. Here's the thing. Is between that and Rhythm of War, I'd wanted to get in Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. Just so I am fresh for Rhythm of War, I think I might put that one off until December and just maybe take a week to 10 days to kind of detox and refresh and get ready for Rhythm of War, because who wants to go into a brand new Stormlight book feeling reading fatigue? You know, who wants that? So I think I might need to reset the brain a little bit. I haven't taken any breaks like at all this year with my reading, and that usually isn't a problem. I think maybe I've just been kind of pushing myself a little too hard on some of these books, trying to finish some of these series up and things like that. But if I do any reading during that time, it'll be reading those sample chapters of Rhythm of War. I think I read like the first 10 to 12, and I've gotten behind the last few. I think we're going to go up to 19 before release day. So I'm hoping maybe that'll be all of part one. I don't know. But that should be the plans for what I am reading here going forward. Hopefully I can kick whatever this is that's kind of dragging me down. Let's talk about this week on the channel, guys. Did do the normal amount of videos. I'm actually stunned. I think we're going to make all the... I got something in my eye. I don't know what it is. I think it's an eyelash. You guys ever wear contact lenses? When I used to wear contact lenses, you get a eyelash out of that. It's the worst. It feels like a boulder in your eye. But I got LASIK like 15 years ago, so I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyhow, this week on the channel, I actually went back into the multiverse twice, and we talked about the cycle of the werewolf, and that was kind of a fun one, because I think if you said that I had a negative review, that might have been the first one, because all I talked about was the art in that book. And basically with the book, I said it's kind of a, just an also-ran. It's something that you've never, something you've heard a million times. It wasn't really a special story. It's more known for the art. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. It's the shortest book I was going to cover on Into the Multiverse. It had no multiverse connections whatsoever. It was just because it was Halloween, I decided to do that. Whereas most of his novellas or short stories, I'm kind of skipping at least this first run through. I just threw that one in there to kind of fit with Fright Fest. But one that I actually do have nothing but amazing things to say about was where I did my review for Pet Sematary, which I think a lot of people either have already read or they have a very mild to hot interest in it. And apparently I pushed a couple people over the edge to go ahead and read it based off of my feedback of it. Look, that is a top 3 Stephen King book for me. And that's quite a lot to choose from, right? So that tells you how much I really do love that book. So lots and lots of things that went into that review. It was actually about 36 minutes when I first did it. Went through, cut some stuff out that I thought might have been kind of spoilery, and cut off some other rambling because I don't want to get too much into analytics or whatnot. But Fright Fest as a whole hasn't done that great as far as traffic and engagement goes and watch time. So I've been trying to get some of those videos down in length. That's why you've seen, like, I think the last 3 or 4 videos were well under my usual 20 minutes. But with Pet Cemetery, I'm always going to have a lot to say. So that's why it has its normal length there. I also did a review for The Haunting of Hill House, a book I think is absolutely wonderful. Needs no introduction. I felt like everyone who didn't know about it knew about it after Mike Flanagan's series came out on Netflix, a series I've absolutely adored. I adore the book every bit as much for different reasons, and I think there's plenty that you'll find to like there. Also talked about my man Edgar Allan Poe. I think is someone that is very, very vastly respected, but a lot of people haven't read, or they were forced to read him in high school and it kind of turned them off on. I know a lot of people that were, if you're forced to read something, you usually have a negative reaction to it. With me, it was one of those things where I was like, I can't believe they're letting us read this when we read it in high school, just because the content was so dark and so twisted. And it was really fun talking about it. I only got to talk about 4 stories. Like I said, I was trying to shorten these videos up. I was originally going to do like 8 of my favorite stories of his. But like I said, I'm trying to shorten these videos up. But I did go ahead and close out the week by doing my top 10 horror novels of all time. That was a lot of fun. Anytime you can do a top 10, it always creates a lot of conversation. I think that there's a lot of good feedback on there from people who have a very, very different list, or they've read some of these, they want to read the rest of them, things like that. I get a lot of the is that actually horror? I mean, I think it is, but that's one of those things. Anytime you talk about horror, it's going to be like, is it actually horror? Is it a thriller? Is it a drama, or with intense scenes? I don't know. Like I said, I don't do the subgenre thing. So double-edged sword there. It's an argument you're never going to win or lose. It is what it is. But that was this week. Next week plans. Look, I'm going to take a little bit of a break. If you guys don't know, I pushed out a lot of content in October. It didn't get watched as much, but I think I did 5 videos a week. And that's quite a bit. It was quite a bit of time and energy and effort to make sure that I stayed on that schedule. I'll be wrapping it up tomorrow for Halloween Day. I'll be putting my review for Weaveworld by Clive Barker, and that will be closing everything off. So actually, I made a schedule at the beginning, and I actually hit every single one of them, so I'm proud of that. I wasn't able to do Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, but I talked about it in my top 10 horror videos, or top 10 horror novels. So if you want to check that out if you missed it. That was the only one that internally I wanted to do that I didn't get to. Did throw a couple things in there, like a top 10 horror movies and horror movies I was going to watch over October, things like that. But overall, I'm content with the month. I enjoyed everything that I talked about on it. Again, I don't think I'll ever dedicate an entire month to a single genre ever again. Just because if you have a viewer who's not into that one single genre, they tune out for a month, and chances are your videos aren't even going to show up for those subscribers anymore. So it's a risk. I knew it was a risk, but I wanted to take it, and I'm just going to go off of the data here and suggest maybe horror is not the thing to do that on. Now, if I did a full month of Wheel of Time, I'm sure that'd probably do pretty well. Next week, I will be doing my wrap up for the month of October. I'm going to be doing my review for Saint's Blood. That's Greatcoats number 3. And I also want to start talking about the plans that I have for Rhythm of War. If you didn't catch my my live stream that I did, my 25K live stream, and chances are you didn't watch all 3 hours of it. If you did, I did talk about my plans for Rhythm of War in that. I'll be leaving that live stream up here probably until, I don't know, probably middle of next week or whatever. Want to kind of bring up the subject of Rhythm of War, people, because I want to make sure that I'm not doing too much Brandon Sanders. I just talked about dedicating your channel to one subject, and if they aren't into it, it'll kind of bring everybody down. I think just about everyone I know is going to be reading Stormlight or is going to be reading Rhythm of War, and I want to just get you guys' feedback on it. So I'm going to kind of talk about what my plans on the channel to cover Rhythm of War are going to be. That's pretty much it for the books, guys. I do have a couple of things outside the books here, some TV and movie talk. We finished American Horror Story 84, And I'm not going to lie, I think we both really, really liked it. I've talked about all my problems with American Horror Story, about how I feel like they always kind of just, shit the bed about halfway through and they try to rewrite a whole new season. We got to that point in this one and it started jumping back a little bit. It actually tied up really, really well. And it really felt like an ode to the slasher film of the 80s, which I'm a big fan of. So I had a great time with it. I don't know what they're doing next. It seems like they're always on at this time of year. Is there not an American Horror Story this year? I don't know if the virus is trying to be named actually delayed it or something. But if they aren't doing a new one, I don't even know. But it's got me interested enough to see what they do next. Because after Freak Show, I did kind of bail on the show. And the only reason I did this one is because I love the 80s. And anytime you're doing horror, an ode to 80s horror, I'm going to be interested in giving it a try. But it checked all those boxes that I wanted to see, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. My wife did too. We watched Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, the movie, and I'm actually surprised how much I actually enjoyed it. It actually brought enough of these stories that you remember together into kind of a coherent story. I was actually rather surprised by that, and it really did feel like a tribute to the book, which I was afraid it wouldn't do at all. It really tried to get some of that art that is just just famous at this point. It really tried to hit some of those just the visuals that they did. You could hold up the book to that scene on the TV and see they were trying to hit some of those. And I knew if Guillermo del Toro involved, it was going to try its best to look like that aesthetically. So while I wouldn't say it's a great movie, it was a good time. I enjoyed it for the most part. We were entertaining the idea of letting our 8-year-old watch it. We decided against it. We're like, it's one of those things we kind of wanted to watch it first and see. I think probably he'd be fine. He doesn't seem to be affected by stuff like that too much. He's just starting to get a little bit interested in horror stuff because he's played a couple of scary video games, so he thinks he's really interested. We're going to find out, guys, because tonight, for the first time, I was able to track this movie down on DVD because Disney Plus is just bastards and they won't put it on there. I was able to track down Something Wicked This Way Comes, the Disney adaptation of Ray Bradbury's novel. And I'm going to be showing this to my 8-year-old for the first time. And here's the thing. I was 8 when I watched it and loved it. But again, I was already full-blown into horror. So we're going to kind of take it easy, see how he does. Let him sit by me. I let him put my hand over his eyes or something like that if it bothers him. But we feel like it's the time. It's the time because we watched a couple of the things on Disney Plus, like Mr. Boogedy, and he was just like, that's not scary at all. And so okay, all right, well, I think then you're ready. You are definitely ready. So it's one of those things we're just going to kind of introduce him to it and see how it goes over. I think it's a story that you can enjoy at that age because, you can really relate to the two young boys in it. So we're going to see how that goes. There is a couple of gaming things, guys, before I go here I want to talk about. Hey, remember when Cyberpunk 27 was like, we're going 2077? They're like, hey, we went gold, no more delays. And they were kind of grandstanding on Twitter about how no more delays, nothing's going to stop it. Yeah, well, they delayed it again. Yeah. It's just 3 weeks. Here's the thing, guys. To me, I always say, tell people that the game will be out when it's ready. When you put yourself to a date, it never usually ends well. I don't know what the holdup is this time. They were like, the game has gone gold. I don't really know what's stopping it. I didn't really look into it very much. I just know that the game creators were getting completely harassed and threatened on Twitter. Guys, it's just a game. Chill the hell out. Your life will go on. Stop sending people death threats about a game. It's absolutely childish and stupid. And I hope eventually they'll start being able to crack down on stuff like this with social media. Because I said, guys, I have a much smaller platform than the guys that make Cyberpunk 2077, and I get threats and things like that. So I mean, it's just the age that we live in now. Keyboard warriors or whatnot. But I don't know what the real holdup is. I think the only reason people really give them a hard time is because they were just beating their chest about how no more delays, and then they delayed it. So we'll see. To me, in the end, if the game is good, no one's going to remember how many times it got delayed. I think back to Ocarina of Time on the N64. It's a Zelda game, in case you are really young. Here's the thing. I remember that game got delayed every single time there was any kind of news about it. It was that it got pushed back another 3 months. And you know what? No one remembers it now because the game came out and it was wonderful. So, again, if this game comes out and it meets the hype, no one's going to remember how long it got delayed. So, 3 weeks, no big deal. To me, that's perfect. Because I didn't want it coming out at the same time as Rhythm of War. That was going to really, really distract me from reading Rhythm of War. So I'm actually kind of glad about it. But I do have a kind of a new distraction. I basically was treated like a pariah because, okay, here comes, I could make probably an unpopular opinion video about this. I hated Red Dead Redemption 2. I did not understand why everybody loved about it so much. Yeah, sure, it was gorgeous. Sure, it sounded terrific. It was boring as hell to play. It was a horse simulator. I mean, you really had to sit there and hold down a button for 10 seconds to make a bullet. Everything about that game was just tedious and boring to me, and I understand why everybody loved it so much. And here's the thing, I love Red Dead Redemption 1. I played the hell out of it. I probably sunk 200 hours into that game. So you can't say it was that. It was just absolutely a drag. I sank about 20 hours into it, and it's like, it's not getting any better for me, guys. It's just not for me. And so the PS4 one I had, I gave it to someone else, and I let them borrow it and told them, hey, give it back if you ever want to. And they never did, so I guess they're probably enjoying it more than me. But again, I know this is a very unpopular opinion, and obviously it's a super popular game. To me, I felt like Rockstar really went that route of, we want to put so much realism into a game that it just became a simulator. You've taken all the fun out of it. I live in real life. I don't need to play real life on a video game, even if it is in 1899. I am trying the game again. There was a nice little coupon I had for Steam, and I went ahead and picked the game up now that it's on PC and said, maybe I can give it another try and see what I like about it. I played it about an hour last night. Same deal. Absolutely looks stunning on my computer, I'm not going to lie. Again, the look and feel and sound of the game, never had a problem with it. It was just that the game was boring as hell to play. So I'm hoping maybe I can find what everyone else loved so much about it. I'm not above giving something a second chance, especially something as popular as it was. And it was between that or Last of Us 2. To me, that was an easy decision. I went ahead and went with Red Dead Redemption 2. So guys, what are you up to? What are you playing? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you watching? Drop in the comments. Let me know what you guys are doing. Have yourselves a safe and happy Halloween.